Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Today in Gaming for the 2nd of June 2011. In the headlines today, PlayStation Store resumes service and is immediately hit by more errors. A brand new Zelda game is set to be announced at E3, and in lighter news, Activision thanks EA for hyping Call of Duty. Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome once again to your daily dose of gaming news from a man who really should know better than to be doing this. It's been a busy day in gaming, with the bank holiday weekend delaying tons of news until later in the week. So without further ado, let's get to the stuff that you came here to see. PSN Watch 2011 is still in full swing as we continue our coverage of the PlayStation Network outage. The PlayStation Store was back up today in North America, coming with a veritable horde of new content. On top of the already announced welcome back freebies, such as Infamous, there is a ton of DLC for games such as Rock Band, as well as demos and fully purchasable games. Notable new titles include new LEGO games for the PSP, as well as Bomberman 94, if you are into that old school retro DLC type stuff. However, Sony's much anticipated return to the online world has been somewhat marred due to the level of traffic it's receiving. Owing to the very large number of people anxiously trying to get their PS3s back online, the PlayStation Network has begun giving out error messages as it proves ill-equipped to deal with the influx of traffic. PlayStation officials promise that the problem is being fixed as we speak, but as always, continue watching Today in Gaming for the complete coverage of PSN Watch 2011. According to French site pnintendo.com, Eiji Aonuma, the man who heads up Nintendo's Zelda department, has announced that Zelda 25th Anniversary, new Zelda to be shown in E3. Yes, I'm aware the translation is somewhat broken, but we have to deal with the hand we're dealt. Speculation is abound regarding this announcement, however, with Skyward Sword slated for a 2011 release, and Project Cafe for a late 2012 release. Most sources have concluded that the new Zelda is likely to be for the 3DS, however more is as yet unknown. With the anticipated release of Ocarina of Time 3DS later this month, now seems like a very good time for Nintendo to ride a wave of goodwill towards the franchise and encourage people into buying a new Zelda title. However, it could simply be a similar affair to Super Mario Bros. 25th Anniversary, which, as we all know, was a re-release of Super Mario All-Stars on Wii console. For example, Nintendo might choose to re-release Link to the Past on console. In other news, Duke Nukem Forever designers Gearbox have been talking up their latest release during a press tour in London. Randy Pitchford, boss of Gearbox, claims that it doesn't matter how critics judge Duke Nukem Forever, saying the design team already know the game is great. Pitchford says his claims will be substantiated by a response from gamers, and anyone daring to give it a poor review will be held to account by the masses. Pitchford feels that Duke Nukem Forever is an interesting dilemma for journalists, with the long wait meaning that they expect the game to be the best game to have ever been released ever. As such, even if it does approach this, it is likely that resentment for delays will result in reviews around the 8 or 9 mark, regardless of quality. In related news, Gearbox have also announced that anyone who purchased Borderlands or pre-ordered Duke Nukem Forever will get the first piece of DLC for the game completely for free. Kotaku reports that the DLC is not some silly skin, but completely full and has absolutely full functionality. John St. John, the voice of Duke Nukem, corroborates this by saying the DLC may involve singing on his behalf. More on this story as it develops. Mass Effect 3, the final portion of the Mass Effect trilogy, is rumoured to have Kinect support. Publisher EA's website placed up box art that suggests the game will be fully compatible with Kinect, the controllerless play system from Microsoft, and even goes further, claiming the game will in fact be better on Kinect than with any other control system. The box art, however, was subsequently removed from the site, but the image still remains on EA's servers, say Destructoid.com. As always, the internet is now rife with speculation as to how the game could incorporate Kinect for greater effect. And we at Today in Gaming are choosing to take a wait-and-see approach. Hopefully, this will lead to greater innovation in gaming and a better control scheme for Mass Effect 3. In more light-hearted news, Saints Row III has gotten itself a release date. The sequel to cult classic Saints Row 2 is due to come out on PS3, Xbox 360 and PC on November 15th of this year. As always, the game promises to be as over-the-top and silly as ever. with the main question being if it can in fact trump killing zombies in a mankini whilst riding a unicycle, as in Dead Rising. This is yet to be seen, however Saints Row the 3rd promises to be an absolutely excellent game. Finally, games giant Activision have laughed off EA's claims to be at the top of the first-person shooter pile with Battlefield 3. Activision publishing boss Eric Hirschberg dismisses the threat of EA, claiming, "I think EA might talk about our games in the press more than we do." Activision claim that whilst they are focused purely on their games, EA are focused on Activision to the point of distraction. EA have talked up Battlefield 3, with EA CEO John Rosatello claiming the franchise is designed to take that game down. That game, of course, referring to Modern Warfare 3. With MW3 launching on the 8th of November this year, and Battlefield 3 rumoured to launch in the same week, the proof of superiority will be in the pudding. That is it from me here at Today in Gaming. Please do tune in tomorrow for more delicious gaming news, as well as checking me out on Twitter and over on www.btwproductions.com.